Jesus is on a mission and you've been joining him. You've learned a lot. You've learned to watch out for what he's been up to and to care about the people around you. You've learned the value of offering little seeds of his grace and laughter and kindness and truth. You've learned what Jesus can do when you spend unhurried time with your neighbors. So what's next? It's time to show your family and friends what you've been learning. In fact, it's important that you do. Believe it or not, showing others how to join Jesus on his mission is what the Bible calls making disciples. And it's the next step in your mission training with him. Are you ready? Then let's go with Jesus so he can show us how to disciple our family and friends.
Hi, I'm Greg Finke.
And I'm Susan Finke, and we'd like to invite you to take the next step on your mission adventure with Jesus.
And that next step is simply showing your family and friends what you've already discovered about joining Jesus on his mission as part of your everyday life. Believe it or not, showing them what you've already discovered is an important part of the process Jesus calls making disciples. And where did I get that idea? From Jesus in the Gospels. If we go back to the Gospels and watch how Jesus disciples people, we'll see that he first says, "Come follow me, and I will make you fishers of men." In other words, come follow me and I will disciple you to participate in my Father's mission. Then, after people have been discipled, Jesus says to them, "Now, go and make more disciples. Show others how to participate in my Father's mission too."
So if you participated in our first video training, Joining Jesus on His Mission, then you've been gaining real-life, valuable experience on what it looks like to join Jesus on His mission every day.
And while you may not consider yourself an expert, the things you have already discovered and the stories you already have are valuable lessons that you can now share with your family and friends who want to learn how to join Jesus on his mission too.
It's how you get to participate in what Jesus calls making disciples.
But don't take our word for it. Come along with Susan and me and let's head into the Gospels where Jesus himself can show you how he disciples his followers. In the end, I think you will find that discipling your family and friends the way Jesus does in the Gospels is simpler than you thought and a lot more fun.
Welcome to your first training session. We're excited for you. Our goal is to clarify how Jesus disciples his followers in the Gospels so we can disciple our family and friends in the same way. Jesus' way for Jesus' results. Today we'll clarify what discipling is according to Jesus.
To get started, let's take a quick look at how this training experience is laid out. There are 10 sessions that are divided into two main parts.
Part 1 is made up of sessions 1 through 5 and will help you clarify and simplify how Jesus disciples his followers in the Gospels. Part 2 is made up of sessions 6 through 10 and will help you then craft your own discipling plan using Jesus' plan as your model.
If you're like the rest of us, when you think about discipling your family and friends, don't you feel something like this? We think, I can't do that. I don't know enough, or I'm not spiritual enough, or isn't that the pastor's job? We desperately want to delegate discipling to someone we think knows more about it than we do. We have this vague, complicated, academic understanding of discipling that leaves us feeling like it's best left to the professionals.
But what if we told you that our fear of discipling comes from a misunderstanding of what discipling actually is? The way we attempt to disciple people these days bears little resemblance to how Jesus disciples his followers in the Gospels. Somehow, over the generations, we have come to assume that discipling is so complex, so scholarly, so beyond the ability of simple Christians that only biblical scholars and spiritual superheroes should attempt it.
But this assumption stands in sharp contrast to what we see Jesus actually doing in the Gospels. The way Jesus disciples is so simple that unschooled, ordinary people quickly learn how to disciple even more people to be followers of Jesus too.
As a result, the mission movement of Jesus spread rapidly. We see the evidence throughout the book of Acts and in other parts of the world even today. The trouble here in our part of the world is that we seem to have lost track of how Jesus disciples his followers in the Gospels.
Bottom line, we need someone to show us how again. And the very best candidate for that is Jesus. So let's go back to Matthew 4, where Jesus first invites a couple of unschooled, ordinary fishermen to be discipled. According to Jesus, what exactly is discipling?
Perhaps you are familiar with words like apprentice, trainee, or intern. These are words we use to describe a person in the process of developing skills for a profession. They also happen to be synonyms for the word disciple. In other words, the disciples of Jesus were apprentices or trainees of Jesus.
Likewise, you may be familiar with words like training, mentoring, or coaching. These are words we use to describe the process a person goes through to develop skills. For example, we might say an apprentice is being trained by a master craftsman to build fine cabinets, or a basketball player is being coached to improve her dribbling skills. These words also happen to be synonymous for the word discipling.
So when we say Jesus is discipling Peter and Andrew in the Gospels, we are simply saying that Jesus is taking his apprentices through a training process to help them develop skills for joining him on his mission.
So what is discipling according to Jesus? We can sum it up this way.
Discipling is Jesus' training process for showing the people of God how to participate in the mission of God as a daily lifestyle. Could it really be that simple?
Yep. When Jesus says in Matthew 4, "Come follow me, I will make you to be fishers of men," he is inviting Peter and Andrew to be apprentices in his training process. And by the time they get to Matthew 28, Jesus commissions them to go and train even more apprentices, who will go and train even more apprentices, who will go and train even more apprentices to participate in the mission of God. For Jesus, discipling is the means by which a redemptive movement is unleashed into a world that needs it so badly, literally to the ends of the earth. Jesus wants all the nations to be trained to participate in his Father's redemptive mission.
You see, discipling really is simpler than you thought and a lot more fun. Jesus doesn't say, "Come follow me and I will train you to be scholars who know all the right answers," or "Come follow me and I will train you to be religion salespersons." What Jesus says is, "Come follow me and I will train you to participate in my Father's redemptive mission."
So that's what discipling is, according to Jesus. It may not be the answer you expected, but it's definitely the answer he's been giving all along. Nothing to be afraid of here.